My name is Wesahana Pearson, and I am recording for Black Ink Magazine. Right now, I've been spending maybe the past hour or so, more than that, reminiscing with a guy who's just as much of a veteran as I am, and this is something we just found out. So I'm talking to a man named Ryisan. You're also a pretty famous TikToker here in Taiwan.
I wouldn't say I'm pretty famous unless you're saying famous for pissing people off. Yeah.
Okay.
You think I'm the devil? You think I'm the bad guy? You think I'm only here to tell you all the bad things about this country? There are so many good things. Otherwise, I don't think anybody would be here. But the fact is, I'm here to tell you the things nobody else will. I'm here to state the facts nobody else will. I don't threaten easily, so threatening me doesn't work. I don't scare easily. I'm not fearful. And even if I was here or somewhere else, this page would still be telling you new facts. So, Taiwan has its good, but it also has its bad. Maybe I'm part of that.
Well, we're gonna get into all that. I'd like to hear about your TikTok account. I'd like to also know more about the job you've been doing up to now and the job that you're going into for the future.
Okay.
So first, for the site, can you tell us your name?
My name is Ryisan Champion. Yes, that's my real last name.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Where are you from?
I hail from Atlanta, Georgia. Born and raised. Was there until I was 18. Then I left and went out to Japan first. Then went back and finished college.
Okay. Tell me about living in Japan. Was living in Japan the first time you had been abroad?
It was not the first time I went abroad, because before then I had done a overseas study in Beijing, China, when I was 15 years old.
Okay. So did you pick up any of the language?
Yeah, it was specifically to learn Chinese when I was in high school. Yeah, and then I just fell in love with Asia. So it wasn't my first time being in Asia, but it was my first time actually living there for more than because when I went the first one was 3 months. So in Japan it was like a year.
Okay. Now, let's touch on that a little bit more. I fell in love with Asia. A lot of people say that. What is it about living in the continent of Asia, being a Western person, moving out here, and then it's just like there's something about the lifestyle here, something about being this far away from home, and how drastically different it is to live in Asia. What does that statement mean if you had to explain it a little bit more in depth? I fell in love with Asia.
I think at the time, I fell in love with something, with the idea of Asia, is what of course my mindset has changed lately. When I was younger, it was different. It was vastly different from what I knew as an American. I had known, video games and anime and all that superficial stuff and kung fu, blah, blah. And here I was thrust into this culture and this world, but I didn't really know about the people. So I think at that time I was just in love with the fantasy of it. Okay. So, and it was just so different, and I felt more special as a foreigner. And during that time, they made you feel more special,
right?
Because you're rare. You're rare. Like, oh, this guy's different from this is a foreign guy. Like, you were treated a different way.
Okay.
So I think at that time, that's what I fell in love with. Of course, things changed.
Right. You get older, you change. The environments that you come in contact with have also changed.
Correct.
As far as traveling, you come from Atlanta, you've lived in Japan, also Beijing you mentioned. Where have you traveled to and lived in the past?
Almost every major country in Asia I have lived in. You name a city, I've probably been there.
Okay.
About 40 countries, 40 cities. Okay. I've been to Malaysia, the Philippines, China, all over China, Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, Laos, Mongolia, Tibet. I've been around. So it's probably not a place. Malaysia. It's probably not a place. Singapore. I
could mention that you're not familiar with.
I'm not familiar with on some aspect or form.
Which country, which place left the biggest impact on you?
If you're saying positive impact, I would say positively Japan. Okay. Even with its xenophobia, because it has a lot of xenophobia. Okay. Even with the xenophobia, the most positive impact I've ever had was in Japan. the most negative impact I've ever had has been here in
Taiwan. Okay, interesting. How long have you been in Taiwan, and what brought you here?
Taiwan, I've been in Taiwan for about 11 years. What brought me here was one, a business opportunity. We were doing hip hop to China.
Okay.
In China, we were working with a bunch of hip hop artists groups. We were building a record label. We were probably one of the first countries to bring, oh sorry, not countries, companies to bring hip hop to China.
Okay.
And we were just building on the brand, building up the people. Like hip hop now is really big in China. That's partly due to us.
Okay.
And so I wanted to make a subsidiary of that. So I created Streets of Asia.
Streets of Asia. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to bring it here to Taiwan. Another reason that I came to Taiwan was for a girl, which was stupid.
Okay, you fell in love. You met someone you fell in love with.
Yeah, these hoes ain't loyal, bro. So.
Okay, all right.
You know.
Okay, so this is 11 years ago. You met someone in China, and you.
Well, actually, we had come here to do a show to see what the market would be like for hip hop to China. And we came here to do a show, and while I was doing the show, there was just this one girl that I was like, wow, she fits everything. She checks off everything on my list that I want. And that sounds terrible now talking about you. Yes, I'm not a misogynist, okay? I'm not. But at that time.
Everyone has their idea. I don't think that would be misogynist in any way.
Yeah, my mindset was everything that I had hoped for in my partner, I thought she met.
Okay.
Specifically physically, which I should have spent more time to see where she was mentally and spiritually, but I didn't. So I came here for her too. And I would find that things just weren't going to work out the way that I thought they would.
Okay. But at that point, you were already here.
Yeah, at that point, I already come here. I already brought the investors here. I already brought the guy that was, footing the bill and everything, the main guy. Brought him here, showed him around, told him that we could do this. He was down. He knew what was going on. He was okay with it. And then it was already set up. We were just, we're in bed with it.
Okay. You very briefly told me a story about doing business here in Taiwan. If you could go into that story again about when you were working at a nightclub.
Sure. So Streets of Asia's main business model was the same as Hip Hop to China's. The original idea was we first work with nightclubs, we build up a reputation, we build up a fan base, we bring artists from the States to build up our name, show how serious we are about, there's a lot of money being spent.
Right.
To show how serious we are about building up the hip hop brand, building up the label. And then after that, the second phase was to create our own recording label, create our own media label, create our own artists, and just basically build an empire. That was the idea.
Right.
So the idea was the same thing here in Taiwan. First step, work with clubs, and then, get to the next few steps. So we started working with clubs. We started working with Luxy. We started working with Primo. We started working with, at the time it was called Deep Passion. I don't know what it's called now. I haven't been there in a long time. We were working with almost every, there was one club called Lava, which is now called, I don't know. I'm not probably. It's still there. It's right in Sheen.
In some form, yeah. Still there in some form.
Well, the way the clubs work here is that they just change the name and then suddenly they're a new club.
Okay.
We worked with Room 18. We worked with, I'm sure Room 18 has changed the name too. Basically, any major club you can find, we found a way to try to work with them. Okay. And bring in shows, bring in activities. There was one new club called Strike, and Strike was owned by Vanessa Wu.
Vanessa Wu.
He's a celebrity. Wu Jianhao.
Okay. He's pretty famous here. All right.
Pretty famous here, yeah. He has a reputation.
Okay.
And I've never told anyone directly this person's name. So you're the first to actually get this is a scoop.
Oh, thank you. Exclusive.
This is exclusive.
Black Asia Magazine. Thank you.
I've never told anybody his name, but this was his name. I'm not sure if he was 100% responsible for it. Maybe my associate that I was working with, I've heard that he was responsible for it too. I've also heard that the boss of Chess was responsible for what I'm about to tell you as well. Chess at the time was called Primo. We had done a show with them. It was a very successful show. The boss of Primo is the is a member of Maji.
Maji Square.
No, Maji. I don't know. Maji is a hip hop group here in Taiwan.
Okay.
And I don't want to implicate him because I don't know if he really was or he wasn't. This was just something that was being sold, but this was Wu Jin House Club. Mm-hmm. It was called Strike, and they had a bowling alley in the club. We had set up an event for them where we called it game night, and the whole gist of it was to make total use of their bowling alleys, have some other games like darts and basketball and stuff like that. So we were going to turn the entire club into pretty much a Dave and Buster's.
Okay. Right. Okay.
So that people would come, they'd have fun. It'd be a completely different thing than just standing in the club drinking and listening to some crappy music. There would be actual interaction. People would be they get points, they'd be on a leaderboard, all that stuff.
Right.
We had set it up. We spent weeks of organizing, hitting the streets, throwing out flyers. We did our job.
Okay.
The total of that project was 100,000 NT dollars, which is about
divide by
$4,000. About $4,000.
Yeah. Okay.
$4,000, give or take. That money did not go into our pockets. We ourselves, it was me and another associate. We ourselves stood to only make about $500.
Okay.
The rest was to pay for everything else: the dancers, the decorations, the prizes, blah blah blah. Unfortunately, the date that they had their heart set on, no matter how many times we tried to talk them out of it, was the same date that Jay Cho, which is like the Michael Jackson of Taiwan, was having another one of his parties right up the street.
Okay.
So we had warned them that this would probably not be a good date, this would probably not be a good idea, but they didn't want to listen. So that night, nobody came.
Right.
We tried to explain to them why. We tried to let them know, this is what happened. We told you about this date. This is what's going to happen. So around 12:30, half past midnight, while we were still waiting for people to come, a group of mafia members with baseball bats came to the club and chased me down. And while I was trying to get away, one hit me in the back of my neck with a baseball bat. I fell to the ground. Then the rest of them started beating on me with baseball bats, kicking me, hitting me with baseball bats in the head. They carried me upstairs and beat me some more. Pretty much thought I was going to die that night.
And this is because the night was a failure. Even though you had told the management staff there that this was a bad night to put on an event, they didn't listen to you.
Correct.
And as a result, this was a failure.
It was a failure, correct.
And the blame fell squarely upon you.
Correct. That's the thing here. Taiwanese will always use foreigners as a scapegoat.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
That's the thing. And I don't mean to sound controversial, but it's an underlying thing that I've noticed. If you can blame somebody, blame somebody. And if you can blame a foreigner, even better.
Okay. So what happened after that? Did you were assaulted, attacked?
I was assaulted, attacked, thrown outside, bleeding everywhere. I was able to get into a taxi. My associate went with me. He had no scratches whatsoever.
He wasn't touched.
He wasn't touched.
But even though he was right there next to you.
Yeah, exactly. So this is why when some people tell me that he had conspired with me, he had conspired with them to do that, I sort of believe it. I think honestly he was a little intimidated by me. I was a better artist than he was. I had more ideas than he did.
Right.
And I think he just felt that maybe he was losing grip on what he had. I don't know. But as soon as that situation ended, he acted completely different.
Right.
He turned on me, started talking a bunch of trash about me to a bunch of people.
Behind
my back.
Right.
And basically my reputation went to shit.
Okay.
So my reputation went to shit, the business went to shit. And the only thing I could do if I wanted to survive was to teach English.
All right. So as far as being a club promoter, working in
as far as being working in entertainment, doing events or clubs, as far as trying to build another empire here, it failed. And because I failed and the investor came with me, then Hip Hop to China as well failed.
Wow. Okay. All right. So at that point, how long have you been in Taiwan?
At that point, I'd only been in Taiwan for about a year.
So pretty much as soon as you arrived here. the plan you had for your business fell apart.
Fell apart. As a matter of fact, actually wasn't even. I should have known that this would happen because that same night, on the first night when we first came to Taiwan to, gauge the situation, we had a show, and one of the Taiwanese MCs made a snide comment about the stripper. They had a Taiwanese stripper, a male guy, bodybuilder stripper in the club. He stripped, took off his shirt and his pants, and the MC made a comment, "Oh, that's so disgusting." Instead of attacking the MC that made the comment in perfect Chinese, the bodybuilder hit me in the back of my head with a whiskey bottle and started kicking my face in with steel-toe boots. The club that hired the bodybuilder to say sorry to me, they gave me 2,000 NT, which is about what, $60. This was the very first night we came to gauge what Taiwan would be like. I never told my investor about this because I thought it would be a bad look.
Okay.
So the first night I was attacked. He blamed me for a comment that I never made. He hit me in the back of the head with a whiskey bottle, knocked me out, kicked me in my face while I was down. They do that here.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. This is like a shock to me. All right. Not just Taiwan, but in general in Asia, what is your takeaway from doing business here?
It's different. It's a lot different. It's a lot of hierarchy. No, when you say hierarchy, I think it's a lot of relationship building. If they like you, you can do great business.
Right. Okay.
If you're like buddy with them, or if they feel like they can get something from you, you'll do great business. But once they see they can't control you, they can't take advantage of you, you lose value to them.
Okay.
And if you can't be buddy with them, and if you can't get cliquey with them, then you're not going to get anywhere with them.
Okay.
And they're pretty snakish about it sometimes.
Okay. I've noticed the same thing, but when I hear that and when I see that, it seems like that's not a sustainable way to do business. How does that work? Even though that's the way of doing business here, how is it that business continues from day to day?
They change their partners.
Okay.
That's how it works. I mean, they'll use their partners until they're used up, and then once they have no use for this partner, they'll find another partner.
A lot of your content on TikTok deals with topics that are similar to what we're talking about now.
Correct.
What's your name on TikTok? When did you start becoming a TikToker? What are some of the things you have discussed on TikTok up to now?
My name on TikTok is Yes I Am King. So YESIAMKING.
One word.
Yeah, one word. Yes I Am King. I basically started mostly talking about the cram school situation because, I mean, let's be honest, that's pretty much the only job they allow us to do in Taiwan.
Right, being an English teacher.
Being an English teacher.
Yes.
I mean, unless you're an engineer, which not everyone is, and you work in an engineering company, then maybe your life is better. But for the most part, people who are here, they're only given one opportunity to make decent money, and that is teaching English. So I made it my goal to let people know the truth of what they're going to be facing.
Okay. And what is that truth?
You're not going to be treated like a person, especially not working for a cram school. You're not going to be treated like a human being. They will replace you at the minute they think they can't control you, they can't use you. There's really no respect for it. The parents don't really respect the teachers. The bosses don't respect the people as teachers. You're not seen as a person. You're seen as a tool. And schools are not seen as schools. They're seen as banks.
Right, money-making
machines. I've actually had tons of bosses and principals tell me this is a business as opposed to this is a school.
Right.
The first thing, this is business. We have to make money. Blah 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 blah. That's like the first thing they'll ever say to me in this country. Whenever there's an issue, well, Ryisan, this is a business, and if we don't make the parents happy, then they're not going to pay for this, and we're going to lose money. Okay, I get that, but you're putting kids and their education way in the back.
Yeah, it's not a priority at all.
It's not a priority at all, which is something I have a big problem, especially being a father. I have a huge issue with that. And this isn't just, it's not a problem that's going to go away because it's a problem that it's festered into everything. You got parents who don't want to be parents because they got to work all day. You know, and they're too tired to be parents. This is a country full of people that make excuses.
Okay.
I get a lot of excuses. I don't get a lot of I want to do this because I get a lot of I'm too tired or I work too much or you know I don't want to. I've actually had people blatantly tell me, I throw the kids into school because I don't want to deal with them. Like, so you're telling me proudly that you don't want to have any interaction with your child.
Everyone in the country?
Like, no, I was saying, like I said, I'm not saying everyone, but there are some people that actually said that to me.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of parents who, I don't know what it is. It's like the minute that people here become parents, they become a different person.
Okay. All right. Okay. And less compassionate. And
less compassionate. I mean, if you let the schools tell you, if you let the school boss tell you, they become less compassionate, they become racist, they become classist, they become ignorant. And I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that just because you're a parent, that suddenly you think that, my kid can't study from this guy because he's black, because his skin is too dark or something. But that actually happens. You actually got schools that tell you that. You actually have schools that'll put on their ads, we don't want dark skinned people, we don't want black people. I've actually, from my own eyes, have seen this on Facebook or on other forums, we don't want black people working here. I've actually been told by a school, a big school here, they didn't want me here because I was black.
Now, to break that down a little bit, what's the reason why they're saying that? Is it just like a racist, classist, elitist kind of mentality where they're saying, I don't want to associate with these people because you're not my equal? Is it that they think black people don't have the skill set to teach English, which is not a skill set, but you're speaking in a way that is not standard? I'd rather speak more like how I think a white person speaks. To break that down, where does that come from?
Okay, so my whole thought process is on this. You'll have some people say that Asians aren't racist. You'll have some people say that Asians are the most racist people they know. You'll have some people say that Asians are just as racist as white people. And then you have some people that say that Asians are just ignorant. Okay? I think it is a culmination of it all.
Okay.
I think it's a culmination of I can't pinpoint because I don't know exactly 100%.
Right.
I can't pinpoint exactly what it is. I think there is a fair form of ignorance because I had when my daughter was in kindergarten, her teacher taught them that all Africans are poor, they don't have food, and they live in squalor. That's not true. Africa is one of the richest continents in the world. Everybody goes to Africa to steal from Africa, to take from Africa. China is taking from Africa right now.
Yeah.
We have taken from everyone has taken from that country. They're not poor.
Yeah.
And then when I was married, my mother-in-law had an argument with my wife. I was outside the door. She didn't know I was outside the door. Why would you marry a black guy? Black men only sell drugs. They're ignorant. They're lazy. They don't do anything. They never stay there for their kids. I walked in the door. I was like, I'm right here. How am I not? I speak your language. How does that make me lazy? I work here. How does that make me ignorant? So part of it is ignorance.
Yeah.
And I think that ignorance.
It's a willful kind of ignorance.
It's a willful
You're not trying
to figure out. You're not trying to Google a little bit and figure shit out. You're not trying to do that. And then that ignorance becomes a bias. And biases become racism.
Right.
And racism is a disease. And then you have white supremacy, which in itself has gone. I told my wife, the white man, especially racist white men's biggest success was making the whole world believe we're less.
Black people are less.
Yes. That's their biggest success. If you think about it, their biggest export, their biggest success is that idea. Because no matter where we go, we are treated as less because they made the world believe we are less when we're not.
True. Okay.
And so, it's a little bit of all of it. Once, Asians want to be as close to white people as possible because white people have what?
I don't know.
Money and power, bro. That's all. The same thing. They all money and power. Because
perceived, I see white people out here and they don't have money and power,
but it's
perception.
It's a perception. It's how they are shown in TV, how they are shown in media, how
we're shown in media also.
Exactly.
That's what.
Think about it. Every superhero is what color?
White. No, there's black. There's black. Okay,
now there are.
There's Black Panther.
Now there are. This was what 2020, but before everybody that's seen before, every black man you saw, drug dealer, enemy, bad guy. Every white guy you saw, hero, savior, rich guy. And that's been the compelling mindset here in Asia, everywhere in Asia.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if you had this happen to you in Shenzhen, but whenever I, as an American,
we both lived in Shenzhen for quite a while, at the same time too.
Yeah. Whenever I went to anyone in Asia and said I'm from America,
they would say, no, you can't be from America because Americans are white and you must be from Africa.
Exactly. Black people don't exist in America.
It makes sense that someone who's like got that ignorant mind, you got a certain mindset. And in China, everyone's Chinese. Everyone's a Han Chinese person. And the thought process, I can understand where that comes from. In one country, you have one race of people, and that's the mindset that.
But you don't have one race of people. It's just like China assumes that everybody's supposed to be Chinese. China has tons of races, has tons of different dialects, has tons of the Han are not the only Chinese. Okay. There are tons of different Chinese races in China. They just don't want to say it. They don't want to let that be known. Just like they don't want you to know that Tiananmen actually happened. It happened.
Yeah.
So it's just something that's being held in, and that's the worst thing you can do in any Asian country is show them their shit. Yeah. That's the worst thing.
And what happens when you show them their shit? What happens?
Once you show them shit, you're public enemy number one. That's exactly why my TikTok has generated so much hate. Because I'm showing them their shit. Here's your shit that needs to be fixed.
What has it generated? What kind of backlash have you received from?
I've had death threats. I've had threats on my family. I've had threats on me in person. I've had people try to Me Too me. I've had people try to frame me. I've had people try to find out where I live so they can send people to hurt me. I've had people try to dox me.
Dox.
When they find out your personal information and share it to everyone else.
Wow.
I've had people try to do the most. But I'm still sitting here telling you I'm not afraid. I mean, I've been almost killed at least 3 times here. And if it were for me to die here, then I'd die here.
Before you work in Taiwan, you need to listen to this. Most schools, most bushibans are not about education at all. At all. Education is not at the forefront of what they want. For the most part, these schools are just businesses, and all they're doing is racking in money. It's the biggest hustle since the drug deal. So basically, the main focus of all these bushibans in schools is big chains, small chains, whatever, even individual schools that are Taiwanese owned. It's not about education. It's about money. They only care about how many heads they can put in the school and charge an exorbitant amount of money for. So if you're going into the school thinking you're going to be an educator, no, you're an entertainer and a babysitter. They don't want you there to teach. They want you there to jump around like a monkey and entertain the kids while they rake in the dough, and you only make maybe 10% of it.
Is married to a local Taiwanese person. And as opposed to someone who's living who's single, because with all these problems, there are people who have lived here and worked for bushibans, for cram schools, for 10 or 20 years. And they've somehow found a way to exist in this situation. Is there a difference between them, someone who's here as an expat, and someone who actually lives here?
I would think if you're going to ask me, I think maybe they have thicker skin than I do, or maybe they're stronger than I am, or maybe they have a better tolerance for things than I do, or maybe their standards are different. I just know for me and my family, the standards that I live, the values that I have in my life, they're not met here.
Okay.
So, and maybe I'm thinking too much. Maybe it means I am privileged, or I have my nose in there. I don't know. I just know, honestly, and from my heart, this isn't a place I can see my daughter growing up and becoming what I would like her to be, a free-minded individual. Free-spirited, open, earnest. Because this place sort of changed. Like you got little kids that she can't even be friends with. You know, I had her, hang out with some kids before. One mom decided that she didn't want her daughter to hang out with my daughter because she was afraid we were trying to get her money.
How? Well, why would you?
Bro, I don't know. This was the excuse.
Our money.
This was the.
You're gonna rob them?
Bro, this was the. No, because apparently her husband's a dentist. He has money, and we were using our daughter to get in good with her to take her money. I only wanted my daughter to have a playmate. There was another foreigner here who had a daughter. We had them hang out, and he pretty much told his. I was trying to work for his boss. He told his boss not to hire me and then just stop having our daughters hang out. So I mean, there's a whole lot of, like I said, microaggressions. I don't see the point of all these microaggressions. So for me, maybe these people have thicker skin than I, but as a person with a family, right, you start seeing things differently. I honestly, because I have a Taiwanese wife, I have been blessed with being able to actually learn about this culture. Okay. Actually learn about these people, actually learn about their nuances, actually learn how they really think, what they really mean. There's doublespeak in Taiwan. There's a ton. They'll say one thing but mean something else. Okay. For example, if they don't like something, they don't tell you directly, I don't like this. They'll just tell you, oh, you sure that's good? Okay, as long as you think that's okay. Yeah, so basically they'll say something that they mean, or they'll say something else but not what they really mean. Right. So Taiwanese people talk in circles. They don't talk straight. You sort of have to decode what they're trying to say. So I was actually blessed to learn how to do that. By my wife, she taught me everything I know. She taught me about the culture, what people are really thinking. And I've learned a lot. Not just my wife, my mother-in-law has taught me how to understand Taiwanese people and the culture, so has my father-in-law. I've learned a lot being around Taiwanese people.
So I'd like to ask you, even though you might have had your little spats here and there with your in-laws, would you say that they have accepted you and your daughter as their family members?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Definitely, for sure. We got past our spat. My mother-in-law and my father-in-law know my heart, know who I am. They know I got their daughter's best interests. I've proven to them I'm all, that their daughter needs. I've done my job as a father and as a husband, which I'm supposed to do. I'm not trying to get a pat on my back. That's just it. Cool. Cool. So what I'm supposed to do, what a man does. So they, they're cool with me now. We're cool. No problem. Mother-in-law makes my favorite food every time I go over. She'll call me up. My mother will call me up. Tell your husband to come because I made this for him, or she'll make me lunch without me even asking. So we're good. I mean, that's her way of saying she loves me. Okay. So we're good.
Looking forward to the future, you're moving into cryptocurrency. Can you tell me a little bit more about what that's going to be like?
So basically, I've been doing crypto for a while. Just started a new job as a project manager for a very high value client that is working on NFT trading and gaming. So right now there's a big play to earn thing that's going on. You got like a game like Axie and Crypto Kitties, games where you play and you can earn Ethereum or whatever their coin is. You can earn some money. So we're working on making our very own play to earn sphere. I'm really good with gaming, game development, everything. So this is right up my alley. Okay. This is a job that I can do anywhere. I'm mostly on the computer all the time doing this, and it's giving me the freedom not to teach English anymore. It's sort of giving me power back. It's giving my power back, which I feel is great.
Okay. Is there a name that this particular company that you'll be working with?
Yeah, it's DeFi Battles is what it's going to be called. It's going to be great. I would suggest you jump up on it as soon as you see it. Follow us, DeFi Battles, on Twitter and on Discord. DEFI BATTLES. Do it. It's gonna be big. But it's we do NFTs. NFTs are the big thing right now.
What is an NFT?
So NFT is basically just a piece of art. It could be a painting, a drawing, computer generated, anything. It can even be music that you store a value on. And use it for trading. So if you have a piece of art, that art will be encoded with, on the blockchain, and you can put a certain value to it. You can put a certain price to it, pay for it, and then have that value encoded onto that picture. Right. Now people can still use the picture. They can copy the picture. They can share the picture. They can put the picture on their website, but it will not have a value to it because it's just a copy. You are the original owner of this piece of art.
Okay. All right. Okay, before we finally wrap up, anything else you'd like to say, plug, promote, anyone you'd like to shout out?
Not really. I just want to say that if you come to town, be well prepared. You will be put in a box unless you find a way out of that box. So I suggest you find a way out of the box. If you can find a way out of the box, Taiwan is a wonderful place to live. Okay. It's a great place to live. It's very tranquil. As long as you can get away from the negativity, you can just, find a positive place for you to be in, and you can have your own thing, you'll do fine. But if you have to work with people, work for people, that's where the negativity comes in. And if you're going to be in Taiwan, always try to make things as rainbow happy as you can. Don't tell them the truth about themselves because they won't like it. But if you're like me, you know, the truth will eventually come out.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
No problem.
For sharing your experiences, everything you've learned up to now. Black Asian Magazine.